Alright, so today's tutorial is on the brand new ECD Weapon X face-off head. So as you can see, it has a really nice defined mid-pocket, really great definition, as well as a fantastic looking channel, as you can see. So it's going to be super accurate. And also with the way the pocket is set up, you don't have to worry about the ball getting stuck in the back of this stick after a couple of face-offs. So this pocket, of course, uses ECD Hero 2.0. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, and before we begin the tutorial, you're going to have a 9-diamond top string. Just like you can see I have here, you're going to do a 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head. So once again, 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head. Okay, and for the pattern, I'm going to be using this yellow string so that way you guys can see clearly. We're going to start the pattern on the third hole of the head for this first tie and loop. So in through the third salvo hole, up and through that first available mesh loop, which is going to be right here. Pull the slack all the way through, back into that same salvo hole and up to that same mesh loop once again. That's going to be our first tie and loop. Pull that nice and tight. There we go. Now we're going to skip the next salvo hole and then do an SI, so down to the top of the next mesh loop. And then into the plastic from the outside. We're going to leave a small little bit of slack here on the outside. And then from here, we're going to take our string, go back in through this leftover slack. Pulling that slack all the way through. And then from the bottom and up, we're going to take our leading in and go up into that mesh loop. We're going to pull the string upwards and then downwards and then out and to the left so that's nice and tight. And then there we have an SI. Okay, and after that salvo hole, we're going to skip the next salvo hole and then do 4 KSI, so down to the top of the next mesh loop. We're going to go into the plaster from the outside, making sure to skip 1 salvo hole. I'm going to leave a little bit of slack here on the outside. Take a leading in string, go from the back and through of that loop. And then from the inside here, we're going to take the slack from the inside and then just pull it all the way through. And then that's good. We're going to make sure that knot is resting on the top of the salvo rail. Take your fingertips and then pinch the salvo string to the plastic and then pull your leading in straight down. And then you should have a nice looking knot there on the salvo hole or on the salvo rail. Take the leading in and then go from the bottom and up of that same mesh loop and then downwards. And there we have a KSI. Do that 3 more times. Down to the top of the next mesh loop. Into the plaster on the outside. Taking your leading in string, going from the back and through. Pulling that slack from the inside. Take your fingertips, pinch the salvo string to the plastic, and then pull straight down. And then from the bottom up with that same mesh loop. And we'll do that 2 more times. And then 1 more time. Down to the top of the next mesh loop. And then after doing this one, what I like to do is have my fingers and the inside of the pocket here, pulling the middle of the channel outwards and kind of upwards. So that way we're kind of creating that pocket there. So we have our string going from the top and down, then into the plaster from the outside. leaving that loop there from the back and through. Pulling that slack from the inside. And then pull the string straight down. And then before we go up and through, make sure to pinch the middle of the mesh and then pull it towards the scoop. And then from the bottom and up. And essentially from here, we're taking our hands and now we're pulling them away from each other. So my right hand with the string is pulling straight down, and then my left hand pulling the middle of the mesh towards the scoop, so that way they're pulling against each other or away from each other. And there we have a nice little bit of tension there. All right, and after those 4 KSIs, we're going to finish out the pocket with just normal SIs to keep it from getting tight in the middle of the pocket. So when you're doing those pinch and pops, the ball doesn't get stuck. So down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic from the outside. We're going to go through this loop here, just like we did that first initial tie on, or that first initial knot, pulling the string outwards, and then from the bobbin and up. And then before you pull it tight, make sure you're pulling the middle of the mesh, and then pulling up towards the scoop. Make sure you do that for the next 3 knots as well. Down to the top, into the plastic, and then from the inside, we're going through that loop. And then from the bottom up. And after that SI, we're going to do 1 more. So down to the top, into the plastic, and then up and through, and then pulling away from each other. Now we're going to finish out the pocket with the interlock. So into the plastic first without going through the mesh. So we went into the plastic without going through the mesh. And then from this side here, you're going to take your leading edge string, go up and through that first or that next available mesh loop. And then you're going to take your string, go up and through that little bit of slack you left over here. And then from the side, you're going to take the middle of the mesh once again, pinch it, pull it up towards the top of the scoop. And then you're going to pull your leading edge string outwards, and then up, and then down, so that way it's nice and tight. And then to finish out the pocket, we're going to go from the back and through the top of that same mesh loop. And then from the inside of the plastic, we are just going through, this same subtle hole. Okay, so get the string through the plastic. I gotta use a needle nose pliers. That's always a good tool to have. And then from here, we can finish out the pocket. And then on the outside here, once that string is through, you're just gonna simply tie a knot, and we'll be done. And there we go.